Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform, please. Reach out to me directly for pricing, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing a model that launched in 2001. The example you see here in yellow gold was actually sold in 2004. It's the Lange Söhne Langematik Perpetual. It is part of the Saxonia family, and it's powered by the legendary Saxomat micro rotor automatic. So let's take a quick look at this yellow gold full bracelet perpetual calendar. It's 38.5 millimeters in diameter. It's 10.6 millimeters thick, and it measures 47.1 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip across the wrist with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Taking a quick look on the wrist, you'll appreciate that this is a relatively compact watch for the degree of complexity and the integration of the bracelet. You can still wear this watch on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference, so while it's definitely a power watch that makes a statement, it's a power watch for him and for her. Again, my wrist is 16 centimeters. You can see that it's a flat watch with a sloped bezel. It'll easily slide underneath the dress cuff, and it's a dress watch, so it should. Most of these were not equipped with factory bracelets, and you can see that this one has one in outstanding condition. A combination of polish and satin. The design is anything but standard, with a sort of undulating weave of metal into metal as you move down. It has a wonderful three-dimensional quality as you look at it in profile. The flanks are polished. We have here removable links fixed by screws, and this is something you'll often see in rose gold and yellow gold watches on bracelets, which is that the screws, which serve a mechanical purpose, are made of white gold because white gold is harder and more resilient against damage. You'll see the same thing inside of the clasp, which is internally made of white gold. You can see it's considerably lighter than the bracelet itself. White gold is mechanically the strongest gold. That's why it is here. Now, it's a double folding clasp, so you close it just like that. You shut it. It says Lange externally, and it's a friction fit system, so it has sufficient tenacity to stay shut for the purposes of a dress watch. Rolling around the case, you can see that the integration into the case is perfect. The end link matches the curve of the case and also the slope of the lug. It's a typical Lange case with a domed bezel and a flank that's vertical, giving the watch a sort of flattened cylindrical profile. The lugs are stepped out from the case band, as they often are on Lange watches. It has a feature not universal to Lange watches, though, which is that the case band is satinated to contrast with the polish of the lugs, the case back, the crown, and the bezel. And of course, the bezel is domed. We have the Lange name on the crown, little pusher adjusters on the case flank that are used for adjusting the calendar. And the watch does have a pusher adjuster that allows you to make a bunch of changes in step. So if, for example, the watch falls behind 4 days, let's say you don't wear it and it stops, you just click 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're right back in business. You don't have to look up the current phase of the moon or the day or the date. It does all of that for you. Now, we have a lot going on this dial, so let's work from the outside in. First, a surprising amount of lume. You can see out on the minute track that there are luminescent indices. You can see that the watch is fairly easy to read at night for a dress watch. You can also see that the sub-registers at 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock feature luminescent indication. I don't necessarily know that that's going to give you a clue as to what day or month it is in the dark, but it's nice that it is there. Now, taking a quick look at the dial base, it is made of sterling silver, and then it is galvanized the silver white color. So the dial is made of solid silver. It is precious metal. We have yellow gold indices, Roman numerals, hands, and frame for the date. So all of these are gold to match the case, gold so that they will not tarnish, oxidize, or discolor over time. Now you can see that we have a small seconds inside the moon phase, and I'm going to show you it is a 0 reset second system. So not only is it hacking seconds, but the Saxomat has a 0 reset that automatically returns the seconds hand to the index at 60 when you stop the movement. So you can set it precisely against a reference time. You can see that all of the sub-registers feature a textured concentric pattern. We have a 24-hour scale that's coaxial with the day indicator over at 9 o'clock. So what that does is it tells you the nighttime hours. So you know, for example, whether you're looking at 8 in the morning or 8 in the evening. And you know because that little stub alpha hand is pointing to 8 and not its counterpart on the opposite side, that you were looking at 8 in the morning. Again, if it said 20, that would be 8 in the evening. And why do you need to know that? Because when that hand is in the little blue sweep, that blue semicircle, you don't want to use the push adjusters to adjust the watch. You don't want to make those corrections during the danger zone, which is the blue semicircle. Now you can see we have the 24-hour indicator, we have the day, we have the month, and then we have the leap year phase indicator. 4 is the leap year. We have that coaxial seconds with a moon phase disc. The moon phase has a correction interval of 122 years. The watch is a perpetual calendar, so the calendar system for the watch doesn't need to be corrected until the year 2100. And in Lange fashion, the moon phase disc is made of solid gold. We have the panorama datum, or the outsize date. Then we turn the watch over to the caliber L9221. So this is a 3/4 rotor. We'll call it a micro rotor or a 3/4 rotor, but it's an automatic winder with a 46-hour power reserve. And one thing I always like to point out with these is that you have a hallmarked 21-karat gold rotor, but the mass itself is made of platinum. So you have double precious metal and 1, 2, 3, 4 different finishes on this assembly, plus fired blued screws that are used to hold the platinum to the gold. You can see the center of the bearing has been black polished. There's a lovely solarization on the bridge beneath the rotor, and you can see engine turn to perlage in 2 sizes on the base plate. There's a 3rd size underneath the balance. We have glasuta stripes across the bridges. The movement beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, or 6 beats per second. It's adjusted in the high horology standard of 5 positions, and it pivots on 43 joules. Now you can see the bridges and plates are made of German silver, which is why they have that golden hue. It's a nickel copper zinc alloy, with the copper giving it the golden tinge. Now if you look carefully, you can see there's mirrored anglage on the edge of all the bridges, and the half bridge for the balance has been freehand engraved with a burin. We have black polish on the swan's neck fine adjustment mechanism on the ratchet wheel atop the barrel, the case clamp screws, and the cap to the escape wheel, as well as the escape wheel and the anchor themselves. This is an incredible level of finishing execution. You even have 1 pivot jewel in a golden chaton, in a nod to East German pocket watchmaking during the era of F.A. Lange in the 19th century. And in theory, 30 meters water resistant, but really, don't test the theory. This is a dress watch, and a great one. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.